and then you produce almost like the perfect version of what you're looking for without having to spend hours and hours on it. So that's, but if you're thinking of ChatGPT as an intern, how would you give the intern instructions in order for it to create the best work possible? AI itself can't think about the strategy, but if you know what appeals to your audience, right, you can work backwards and get the outcome that you want. Yeah, so it's the unique blend of human strategy and AI execution that gives you the optimal results.
Hi everyone, welcome to the AI Marketing Show. My name is Isabella Bedoya, and with us here today we have Audrey Chia from Close with Copy. Audrey, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So today we're going to talk all about AI and copywriting. So Audrey has been going she's one of the most actually super smart experts in copywriting that I've seen
I'm blushing.
on LinkedIn. Yeah, I mean, I've seen, and I'm not just saying this, I've seen a lot of people talk about copywriting with AI, but when I think about Audrey, you really are making a difference, because not only are you showing how to use the tool for copywriting, but you're actually showing it how to do it with your expertise. And that's what makes what you are going to share with us today super exciting, and I'm super excited to chat with you further. So, Audrey, let's kick it off. Just tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get started with AI? And tell us a little bit more about Close with Copy.
Sure, and I'm a huge fan of yours, Isabella, so it goes both ways. I'm a huge fan of your work, and thank you for sharing your knowledge as well. And I'm really, really glad to be here. So my name is Audrey. I am the founder of Close with Copy. And Close with Copy is actually a hybrid human AI copywriting consultancy. So what I've done is actually brought the best of your mental knowledge and your higher level thinking, right, together with AI execution for optimized results. My journey started only because funnily, my client messaged me and said one day, "Hey, Audrey, you're going to be replaced." And then he sent me a link of ChatGPT. And I was like, "Oh, shocking. How could you say that? And maybe I'm going to be replaced." So those were the thoughts that were running through my mind. And I immediately saw the potential of GPT. Like, as a writer, you look at it and you try it. And that was me trying it for the first time. And I saw what it could actually deliver and what I could do with it. So you could already see the kind of different use cases for GPT. And at that time, I was thinking I had two choices, right? I could either fight the current or I could ride the tide. And so I chose the latter and decided, okay, why not integrate it into my workflow, see how I can really make the most of it, right? And then supercharge my work. So I think it came to this place where, interestingly, I found a beautiful balance of blending, higher level strategy, talking to clients, understanding their brand positioning, target audience, market insights, things that you really need a human to do, and then get AI to execute it almost like a really, really supercharged intern, right? So you get great content using the right prompts, using the right strategy, and then only then you refine the work, and then you produce almost like the perfect version of what you're looking for without having to spend hours and hours on it. So that's the beauty of it. And that's why I've been experimenting and playing around a lot with.
That's amazing. And actually I love that story so much, because that's like everyone's reaction, as soon as you find out that ChatGPT or AI can do your tasks, immediately a lot of people, they go into woe is me and it's the end of the world. What am I going to do? I'm going to be replaced. But it's so refreshing to hear that you actually dove even deeper and you were like, let me figure out how to use AI. When you were and actually that's what makes AI super powerful, is people like you that have this knowledge and this expertise, and then you infuse it with AI, and that's really where the magic happens.
Yeah, it's true. And I think one thing I would also want to add is that people who are great in their fields, right, are the best people to use AI. A lot of people are afraid that AI would take over their jobs. But you can see, let's say the best people using Midjourney are actually designers or people with that kind of experience, because they have the end result of vision, right? And even marketers who already know what they're looking for, using AI just helps them to accelerate their workflow. So if you have the expertise and you combine it with AI, and you are the best person and the best example for that, right? Then you would really, really get to see the most amazing and incredible results.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really good insight. And I've seen that the same as well. So let me ask you a quick question. When you were like diving in deeper into AI and starting to like explore all these other tools, have you had some exploration time with like Bard or Claude or any other chatbots?
I tried, but for now, I think for the kind of nuances that I need in writing, right? GPT-4 is still great at it. Claude, I'm waiting to test it. I have not actually tested it, but I heard great things about it. But for now, if I compare like GPT 3.5 and 4 actually has a much better writing style. You can give it the same prompt and you just take a look at the results. And you can see in terms of like a copywriter's point of view, right? 4 is a much higher skilled intern as compared to 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 and 4, that's night and day difference. When you were starting to get into like actually using ChatGPT 4, how did you get into like prompting? Like, how did you learn how to say, how to speak to it? How did you learn, that sort of thing? And also along with that, how did you know what to say to actually be able to pull out your copywriting skills into it and not just like generic, ChatGPT copy?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is experimentation and spending like really sleepless nights just chatting with GPT like, hey, you're my best friend. Let's have a chat at night. And I'm sure you've spent many hours with GPT yourself. But I think what worked for me was actually taking a step back and thinking, how do I think? So a lot of people, they don't think about how they think, right? They just get something done. But if you're thinking of ChatGPT as an intern, how would you give the intern instructions in order for it to create the best work possible? So I need to teach it the way I think. So let's say I'm creating a landing page. I might have almost like a 5-step process where I would then think, okay, I would first understand my audience, understand the market, what my brand stands for, and then dig deeper into the brand itself, and then the kind of unique selling points that I want to talk about, followed by what kind of structure I want, and then only then you create the copy. So when you take a step back and you think about your own workflow and processes, right, then you can create that sequence that you need to get the output. The problem is that for many people, they just think about, I want to get the output, but they don't think about, the 7 steps they need to get there. So this applies actually for a lot of different practitioners across industries. So I have friends who are doing like design thinking, and I spoke to them about, breaking their design thinking process into parts. And when they break it down into parts, right, that's when they can start thinking, what kind of prompts do I need to get the parts done? Yeah, so that's really kind of a model that has worked for me.
Yeah, that's actually really true. I have found the same, like the average person that's talking about AI is just saying pretty much, like write a blog post about, a puppy running in the field, right? And it's like they think that that's the prompt, but what you're saying is true. Like you actually have to break down and think about it, how you would do it and give that instruction. I have seen that that's like also its superior results.
I think the best prompts are those where it's not a one-liner, probably a one-pager that has been meticulously thought about. Those are the best prompts. I would say that prompting is almost like copywriting. It's a craft in itself. And like muscle memory, once you figure out, okay, this is the way I think, this is the way I can prompt, and over time it gets a lot quicker, and then you get the hang of it as well.
Absolutely. And one thing too that I found, I don't know if you've tried this or seen this also in your workflows, but I found that if you, for example, if you're writing copy and that like it's kind of like turning your copy into a skeleton, right? Because it's like that this sentence is going to be a hook followed by like a supporting detail, but the detail can't be too long, so you're like make it a short sentence. And you have to get like you kind of have to turn your content or the way that you write into this skeleton outline. Have you tried that as well?
Yeah, so you almost do it like frameworks, right? Like, okay, it's like this is one of the secret things that I like to do. So I'm a hoarder. I hoard a lot of information. I hoard templates and I hoard things that worked before. So they are proven, for example, TikTok hooks, right? Like in TikTok, there are certain hooks that work and people collect those hooks. So I take those resources and I have like almost like a library of really, really good hooks. And then you prompt ChatGPT to create content based on those hooks. And then you already have like half of the winning formula done. I think that's the beautiful part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that too. That is really what makes prompt engineering so, at least in my opinion, it makes it super fun because it's kind of like this puzzle that you have to figure out. And I never thought about it before, but you really are thinking about how you think. It's really
Exactly.
interesting. Are there
Yeah.
any like oh sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I think that's the part of it. So like for me, right, it's like the hybrid aspect is when you figure out the way you think, when you figure out how to communicate it, when you figure out how to prompt for the way you think, and then you can review and refine the outcome. That actually is the perfect structure for a kind of a hybrid model.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Let me ask you a quick question. When you were like, as you're, learning you're collecting your hooks, you're learning how to think, how to design your prompts and all these things. Are there any like best practices that you would recommend to a beginner that is just starting out and maybe even like other copywriters that are a little bit afraid of AI replacing them? Like, what are some things that you would recommend are best practices to start building habits around that early on?
Yeah, I think for the first thing would be focus on one thing and don't get distracted. I mean, as copywriters, you can do so many things, right? But choose one thing that you're really passionate about. For me, it was advertising. So I really wanted to see if I could recreate amazing ads using AI. Then you choose that thing, you focus on perfecting it, because every content that you output is a different workflow, it's a different mode of thinking. But you need to first figure out how to crack one before you can crack the others, right? So let's say you choose one thing that you're really good at, and then I would ask myself, what makes a great ad great? So you can see I'm asking myself questions, right? Okay, a great ad has a good hook, a great ad has a attention-grabbing visual, but a great ad also taps on my audience insights. So now I'm probing deeper into, okay, this is the way I craft ads. I will always need my audience insights, right? Now, taking a step back, how do I get the audience insights? What do I need to know? Okay, I need to know their pains, their desires, their needs, their wants, their demographics, their psychographics. I need to know all these things, right? Then now you take a step back. Okay, now I need to get there. How do I do it? And can I do it with AI? So you can see the output is always, I know what makes a good ad good. I know what makes a great landing page great, right? And now I'm just working backwards and thinking, what are the pieces that make it so unique? So once you figure out that kind of mental model for one type of content, you can then do the same thing for other content. So the thing about this is that it requires a bit of work, because an ad that works for an e-commerce company will not work for an SaaS company, right? So every industry or every kind of category you want to dive into has its own unique flavor. But you need to first understand what is the flavor that works before you can create the prompts for it. That's why I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach, because the process of copywriting is so unique and tailored to each brand's kind of objectives as well as what they're trying to achieve, right? So in order to get to their end output and create copywriting that converts, it needs to be tailored for that brand. So the process might take a little longer, but you'll get quicker and quicker as you go along. And by focusing on one thing and unlocking that kind of mental model or like muscle, and then you use the same muscle to then create other kinds of output, then you will be able to figure out, okay, this is how I work. This is how I work best. Now I can structure everything in a kind of flow, and then I integrate it in my everyday workflow. So it's really piece by piece, puzzle by puzzle. Think of it as building blocks.
Wow. It really is one big puzzle, but it's so rewarding when you figure it out. And I love you're really reinforcing the fact that AI is really, like, a lot of people and even the media says that AI is here to replace people, but you're really like showing and showcasing and demonstrating that it's actually here to like coexist and to help us. If anything, it's to make us faster and more efficient and stronger than we were ever before. What were, aside from, like, I know you mentioned a little bit about getting into like advertising use cases and stuff like that, what are other use cases that you found ChatGPT to be helpful for?
Okay, so this is gonna sound really interesting, but this is also something that I guess people might have strong opinions about, but it is a use case. So what I've been experimenting with is, can I create lifelike human content on LinkedIn using GPT that still resonates with, for example, a founder's audience? So I'm working with a few different individuals to see if we can create content with AI that actually resonates with people like humans and gets them to respond. And we compare like a non-AI output versus an AI output. Do you want to know the results? What do you think performed better?
Was it the AI?
Yes.
No
So
way.
yeah, it was so crazy. So I mean, this test isn't conclusive yet. We're still running experiments, right? But it's so cool. Like, just the fact that you could prompt with a persona in mind and with their audience in mind and create an output that resonates with their audience is incredible. And this doesn't mean that I'm just asking GPT to give me one LinkedIn post. No, I'm not. I am actually using a really, really very detailed strategy and creating a persona for LinkedIn before getting the post out. So it's highly strategic, but it's also possible. So I would like to say that there are perhaps people who might say, okay, that's not unique content generation. Where is the thought leadership? But if you think about it from another perspective, it could be freeing up time for founders to focus on things that matter, where I have 60% of their output done using AI, 40% via themselves. So there's still a unique voice while still capturing their audience and helping them to drive results. So if you think about it in this way, you don't have to completely replace the process with AI. But if you ignore it, you're just also missing out on a huge opportunity.
Wow. So that actually like opens up a whole skill set for people that, or even like founders that maybe they weren't amazing at marketing before, but now if they're able to use it at the level that you're using it, that they're actually going to be able to appeal to their target audience. That's massive.
Yes. But the important part is the strategy has to be a part of the process. So the AI itself can't think about the strategy, but if you know what appeals to your audience, right, you can work backwards and get the outcome that you want. Yeah, so it's the unique blend of human strategy and AI execution that gives you the optimal results.
Wow.
Cool, right? I was so surprised. I was like, oh my God, those are great results. Gotta keep testing.
That's incredible, but I like, again, I'll say this again, like that is what makes the difference between just anybody that's saying use, ChatGPT for copywriting versus someone like you that you already know this skill, you know this craft, and now you're using this to make you even better and faster. So do you mind if we take like a couple of minutes here to go through like a live demo of one of your prompts?
Yeah, of course. Let me show you guys. I'm going to show you maybe like 2 examples. And what I've done is also saved the prompts here. Have you tried Superpower ChatGPT, Isabella?
I was just about to say, you have a lot of plugins.
No, you know how some people like to make their cars look better? I make my GPT look better and work better for me. So I'm using another this thing called Superpower ChatGPT. That's really, really good. I would recommend anyone on the show to check it out. It allows you to do all sorts of things, including saving your prompts, exporting it in different formats, even choosing your writing style, tone of voice, exploring other people's prompts as well. So really, really cool thing. So what I've done is actually saved one of my prompts for an ad, and I'm going to walk you guys through it as well. So you can see here that this is a 2-part prompt chain for one of the brands that I'm working with. It's called Essence, and it's like a pet safe essential oil. So let me just run it. Let me see. And so I will just run this here. Okay, yeah. So when you click play, right, it runs your prompt, and then you get the output. And this is on ChatGPT-4 because, again, I prefer the results on GPT-4. So what I'm doing now is actually telling ChatGPT to give me a breakdown of my audience insight. And this brand is a pet-safe essential oil. So it's oils that are made safe for pets, used by humans. So again, it's almost like a very interesting angle, right? It's safe for pets, used by humans, and we want to communicate that in an ad. So how do we do that? It's a bit challenging, right? Because it's a new concept. And which is why we first need to dig into the audience insights to see, okay, what are the insights I can tap on? So I'm going to scroll back up to the prompt here, right? And I'm going to walk you guys through it. How I would start is always by saying, as an expert brand strategist, I'm not using copywriter here, only because I want it to think like a brand strategist. I want it to play a role of a strategist. Only after I get my insights, then I ask it to be a copywriter. So over here, we have, as an expert brand strategist, I want you to do an in-depth analysis of my target audience for my brand. And this is where you can easily change, the kind of inputs that you have, right? So my brand is called Essence. My product is Pet Safe Essential Oils. My target audience could be women who are ages 35 to 55 with a mid to high income. They own pets and they have a love for home and lifestyle products, right? And what is really important here is to include your product USPs as well, because USPs refer to unique selling points, by the way. So this allows ChatGPT to understand your brand, understand your product, and then understand your audience before digging into the audience insights. So you can see I'm already painting a picture for GPT. Even as a brand strategist, I'm not saying, tell me more about women who are between the ages of 35 to 55. No, I'm saying, tell me more about women between the ages of 35 to 55 who have a love for lifestyle products, who own pets, and at the same time, this is the product I want to sell to them, right? So with that in mind, ChatGPT can dig deeper into your audience insights with that context or perspective. So if I scroll down, you can see that, hey, it gave me lots of great output. It told me about my, demographic details, psychographic details. So this is what they prioritize, the quality and safety. They might be leaning towards organic and eco-friendly choices. They are conscious consumers who value transparency and certifications, right? And it's pretty spot on for now, okay? So we'll dig deeper and we'll see if this insight analysis works, right? So if you scroll down, you can see things like, okay, it has values and beliefs, ethical content. They value quality over quantity, pretty accurate, right? Pain points, they have safety concerns. So they talk about how many essential oils in the market are harmful or can be harmful to pets. And this is true, but I didn't even prompt for that. So ChatGPT pulled out the information and understood that context, right? And then it talks about other pain points like overwhelming choices, the lack of transparency, environmental worries. And then we move on to the next section of, okay, now that we know their pain points, what are their desires and wants, right? So they might be looking for a safe home environment. They want to make sure that their home is safe for their pets. Authenticity, you want a genuine product, not anything that's fake or superficial or toxic to pets, right? Perhaps you want something that's more aesthetically pleasing. That could be important, especially for this market. And they're looking for like holistic well-being, right? So now that we have almost an idea of, okay, a picture of what does your target audience look like, what does she care about, what are her pain points, her desires and wants, we can also look at things like, what are her needs, right? They might be looking for education, clear guidelines on how to use oil safely around pets. They might be looking for accessibility. How do I quickly purchase these products? Consistency in product quality, availability, and communication, and community. So even with just one single prompt, I'm already digging deep into so many different angles in which I can craft ads. I'm not going to use them all, but this gives me a great starting point in terms of how can I create insight-driven ads that convert, right? By tapping on all of these inner motivations. And I think ChatGPT also gave me recommendations, which is really cool. It didn't used to do this before. So I think right now as it's evolving, it's even telling you like, okay, this is what you can do with the audience insights. You can make sure that your content helps them to educate your audience and tells them how to use the oil and why it's different. You can consider packaging that is not only eco-friendly, but aesthetically pleasing. So it's even giving you recommendations for product, right? They talk about engagement. You can create a community platform or forum. You can engage with your community and have Q&A workshops, and also even transparency. You can offer a look into your production process, maybe through behind the scenes content. So this section is new, but it's really cool that just by asking ChatGPT to think of my product as a brand strategist, it's already giving me recommendations based on those insights. Yeah, so that's a super cool part about how GPT is evolving, and the kind of output you will see, it's always changing. So the next iteration could be something even crazier. Yeah, so after you have the audience insights, now you think, okay, get ChatGPT to play a different role, right? Can you now act as an experienced conversion writer, a copywriter? And I want you to develop, Facebook ads for Essen that taps into these audience insights. So right now I'm switching the roles. We are going from brand strategist to conversion copywriter. And you can actually do that in your series of prompts, right? You can always change it from strategist to writer to email marketer to social media manager. And then when you change the role, it gives it a different framework or context in which to create the output. So right now I wanted to put on the hat as a conversion copywriter before creating the next section of output. So using those insights, I want ChatGPT to create my output. And you can see here that I'm not saying, please write a Facebook ad for me. I'm not doing that. I'm saying something that's really, really detailed because I want it to get to the output that I'm looking for. So I say something like, please structure your output. Can I get 1 times visual headline of not more than 7 words? 1 times headline, not more than 6 words, 1 times subhead, not more than 10 words, and 1 times post copy. And in this case, please include 1 to 2 product USPs. You can also add a section in to say, please include 1 to 2 product USPs, please include a CTA, like use 3 emojis. So it can be as specific as that if you already know the output you want in mind, right? So now I'm telling it, okay, with your insights, I want this output. Then I'm giving it clearer instructions by saying each ad should only tap on 1 insight, because if you were to combine insights, right, it's highly possible that your message gets convoluted. The only way you can test for an insight is to have 1 insight, 1 angle, 1 message, and then we test it as ads, and then we figure out what is the insight that's working, what is the message that's working, right? So I'm telling it, this is what I want. I want 10 variations. Let me know how it goes. So it does its magic, and then it gives me different kinds of content, right? So here I'm going to walk you through like how I would select an ad. For example, the first one that says safety first always, I'll be like, it doesn't really highlight what I want to say about Essen, and the tone of voice is not there. So I wouldn't go for that. Clear choice, pure delight. Not sure about it, and then see the pure difference. We could work with that, but let's take a look at the other options. Earth loves Essen. This is not my favorite, so I'm gonna skip it. Harmony at home. I like this, and I can imagine an image, right, of a pet and a homeowner, and then the headline goes harmony at home on the visual, and then you have the Facebook headline that says like safety and serenity, and a subhead that explains what is it, right? Essential oils for a pet safe home. So you can see here how I'm thinking, right? When I'm looking at the potential of the output, and I'm thinking, how would I tweak it to get to what I want? So this has potential, so I would highlight, okay, option 5 is interesting. Let's have that in our list. And then we have other options like, genuine goodness. I like the idea of genuine. I'm not sure if goodness actually is the right word for it. So let's take a look. If I wanted to, I can ask ChatGPT, give me more ads about authenticity, right? And tapping into desire. And then it would generate more ads for me, and I would explore this space a little more. So that's how I would think of it as well. Like, I like the space, I don't like the copy. Let's get more versions, right? And then we have elegance in essence. Not sure, maybe. And then we have wellness in waves, learn, laugh, lavender, reliable aromatic rituals. This could work as well. I might think about it. The headline says every drop always pure. The subhead says consistent care for pets. So on the first pass, what I would do is figure out, okay, maybe I like the angle of harmony at home. Let's get more ads in this angle. Maybe I like something about, aromatic rituals. Let's get more ads in this angle. So you can see it's an iterative process. it doesn't mean that once you use ChatGPT, you're going to get the output that you want. You use it as a way to get you many ideas. And after which I select, let's say, 2 of the ideas that I really like, and then I expand on it. And then I figure out, okay, now with these 2 angles, what kind of ads can I produce? Can we try more copy options? And you can see here that the post copy has includes maybe 1 USP. But if I'm not happy with it, I can always say, can you include 3 USPs in 3 bullet points? And that could be another output that I'm looking for. So this is just V1. But after V1, there will be maybe 2 or 3 rounds of prompting, iterations, and then I will select 5 ads with 5 different insights. And then we'll run those and we'll test to see which ads work best. And then we'll come back to GPT again and say, okay, now that I know this angle works, can we get 10 more ads? And let's experiment again. So that's almost like a really top line view of how I would look at ad copywriting with GPT.
Wow, that is extremely insightful. So let me ask you a quick question. To get these prompts into ChatGPT, you used superpower ChatGPT, I think you said. So when you clicked play, it automatically ran those 2 prompts for you?
Yes. But what you can do as well is you can actually change it here. So you can actually change the brand, product, target audience here, and then you click play, and then it runs your new sequence.
Wow, so you don't have to go one by one. That's amazing.
Yeah, cool, right? I found it out like 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah, this is really, I'm going to have to try this out. This is amazing. Wow. So, okay, so this is really insightful, and I'm sure a lot of people are like mind blown about this. Just to give some perspective, how much time do you think ChatGPT has saved you just with this prompt alone? Like, how long would it take you to do the first part and then the second part?
Yeah, I think in the past, perhaps it might take me maybe like at least 2 to 3 days to come up with a series of ads. I can do it in a day now. So for me, right, one thing is that I'll never compromise on quality. So if I'm not happy with this, I'll try again. But in terms of like time savings, a landing page used to take me 2 weeks. I can get it done in 2 days with the right strategy. Again, like even emails used to take me a couple of days. I can get it done in a couple of hours with the right strategy and prompting as well.
Wow. And what about audience persona? How much time do you think that saved you?
At least 70%.
Yeah, it's really powerful. Now, in terms of I know strategy is like huge, and this is something that I love that you keep reemphasizing, because this really, it boils down to AI is great and amazing, but unless you have the right strategy and the right skills and the right background, it's not always going to give you like the best results. So with that in mind, how much do you think, if people learn how to use the strategy that you just broke down, from audience persona to having these like ad copies that actually will perform and will resonate to audience personas, in terms of like financing, how much money do you think people, once they learn this, are saving from then having to hire people to do this for them?
Yeah, so it depends on who is using it, right? So from, let's say, I like to see in 2 different ways, right? One is how much time you are saving yourself. And I would say it will save you at least 60 to 70% of the time you're going to save yourself, which then frees you up to do higher value work or take on more clients. So that is on a personal level. On a company's level, what is going to save you is the time it takes, right, to get to your end objective, which is to get more clients. So in performance marketing, it's all about finding the right ads that work. A lot of companies are limited by the number of ads they can run because their creative team needs the time to think of ideas. But if you can empower your creative team with a way to quickly generate different angles, quickly think of different output, quickly get them up, can you imagine the time that you will save to get to cracking the right ad? And once you crack the right ad, that ad is going to bring you, most of your revenue, right? Which means that I'm getting you to your objectives even faster than ever. So instead of thinking it of as replacing anyone, it's thinking of I'm giving your team even more skills to get to your end results even quicker. So that's the way I like to think about things.
And that's true, right? It's speed here. Like a lot of this using AI and a lot of our processes, it really is speed and efficiency. Wow, this has been amazing. Is there any, in this prompt example, is there anything else that you would like to share with people? Like maybe any things to look out for? Like I know you mentioned you can pick any of these ads and you can like generate more copies and stuff like that. Is there anything that they should keep in mind of like do's and don'ts?
Yes. So when you're running ads, right, I would suggest that you pick different angles to test. So right now, we are assuming that ChatGPT's audience insights are great. There is a high chance that it could work, and there's also a high chance that it might not work, and it might not resonate with your audience. Ideally, we blend ChatGPT's insights together with human insights, meaning your customer surveys, your actual data, and then you get like a huge base to work off, and then you figure out the kind of ads that work. So in terms of like what I would recommend is when you're ad testing, right, don't focus on one insight and creating 5 messages. Focus on one insight, one message, and then we test that to see if it works. Because if the hypothesis is that my audience cares about education, right? By right, we should be able to crack education as a vertical. So if education works, I'll create more ads about education. So instead of testing 10 education ads, I might test 1 ad for education, 1 ad for consistency, and maybe 1 ad for trust. And then that gives me an idea of where my audience is leaning towards. So this is just the kind of process that I would go through if you're running ads for conversions.
That's very, very insightful. One last thing before you stop screen sharing. This is a question that I see all the time, and I see you have a lot of plugins and widgets and stuff. So I'm really curious to ask you this, but what is your favorite way of storing prompts? Like I know you just shared with us the super I just forgot the name, superpowered ChatGPT. But do you have any other like methods around how you save prompts?
Yeah, so I also have a Notion file with my different prompts that I save. So you think of it as, okay, what kind of output are you looking for? Landing pages, emails, ads, for example. So there's 3 categories, right? Then under each category, there will be a different type of audience or a different kind of client base you're looking for. So is it an e-com, SaaS? Is it a healthcare company? Is it a tech company? Right? So then you have different like drawers for it. So that's one way you can do it. I think what I have found really useful is figuring out a kind of framework like what you mentioned previously, where you can then plug and play. So for example, for landing pages, I almost have a system of 7 different sections that I want. I use that as version 1, and only then after I run it one time, then I reiterate and I create new sections to add to it. So if you have a file, whether it's a Notion file or Google Docs or Drive, just anywhere that can allow you to store information, those are great places to save your prompts, because your prompt is your thought process and you might not remember it after a while. So just save it. That's what I would highly recommend. You not to go through the whole process again.
Yeah.
It's true, right? You will be thinking about different things all the time.
And then, but you know what I have found, at least what's been cool about that is, I think it's like once the wires connect for the first time, right? Every time you think about that thought process, it's always going to end up varying at some capacity, but it always ends up getting better and better and better every time you do it. And that's what makes it so fascinating, because we talked about speed to, getting closer to objectives. We talked about efficiency. We talked about how it makes us better and faster and all that. But one thing that it also does is it's accelerated learning. Like it actually accelerates the way that we're learning and the way that we're doing things. And that alone is so powerful.
Yeah, and I think the cool part is that you'll find different like modes of thinking. So I would actually say that prompting is a creative process. So for example, the other day I was doing a landing page, right? Then I was thinking, what if I could get ChatGPT to critique itself and to like point out what's missing in the landing page? So then there's a different way of thinking, like, okay, with this same tool, what can I get it to do? And what are the more creative ways to think about things? And when you find different angles or ways in which to like create processes, then it works. So another example is like, this is one way of doing ads, right? But what I could also do is look for top performing ads, figure out their frameworks, feed ChatGPT their frameworks, give it the same context, and ask it to generate ads based on top performers that have already worked. So you can see it's a different mode of thinking. How do I solve the problem in a different way? And that creates a different prompt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful and the capabilities are endless. That has all been really, really insightful. Yeah, perfect. That has all been amazing and super insightful. So for anyone that's like actually wanting to learn about copywriting and prompt engineering and AI, what are like a couple of tips that you can recommend? Specifically for people that are just like kind of like on the fence, like, I don't know what to do. I don't like kind of feeling lost with it. Where do you recommend that they start?
Okay, so this is going to sound, I guess, a little bit different from what I've been saying. But if you're a new writer, don't use AI. This is the reason why I'm saying this is because you need to first get your foundations right. Like when you have a strong foundation, when you know what makes good copy great, when you have written 100 different headlines, that is when you can see what makes something work. Without that, right, you're jumping the gun, you're going straight to the end result, right? And then you're thinking like, oh, AI is going to generate everything for me. But you don't have the insight of, okay, why this ad works better than the other. You can't tell because you don't have the experience. So for new writers, or if you're new to copywriting, please just get the fundamentals right. Just practice writing. Like what I used to do was to write 100 different headlines for one brand just to figure out that one headline that worked. It's the kind of rigor that you go through that gets you to where you are today, right? But if you are a slightly more experienced or senior, then I think, like what I said previously, picking your favorite kind of output and starting from there, and then asking yourself, how do I think? And then prompting with that in mind, that is a really great starting point, and something that will get you kickstarted really quickly.
Yeah, this is super important to remember. And I like that you say like go back to foundations, because it really does matter. And I think we're about to see a new generation of not just creators, but like founders and people in business. I mean, I see it all the time already. You probably see it too. There's a lot of people that they just copy and paste ChatGPT copy, and it says like the call to action is always like, let's delve into the future of this. And it's like, you can just tell.
It's true.
Like,
I can spot it as well.
yeah, like when I see let's delve, I'm like, that's
sus.
yeah.
There's AI sus.
Yeah, like you did not take a second to read that. But that actually is what makes a difference. Like a lot of people right now, because there's these tools accessible, a lot of people are, there's going to be that like scale of people that know how to use AI, and then people that know how to use AI that actually have expertise in something that's actually going to be able to get you to the results that you want faster. And that's discernment also for people that are looking for help and support in those ways, knowing that just because someone says, I know how to use AI, doesn't actually mean you know how to use AI with what you need help with.
Exactly.
So that is really insightful. For any on that same lane, speaking about when people are like actually starting to think about bringing AI into their businesses and stuff like that, what do you recommend people do? Like, are there any things that they should look out for, be aware of when they're actually thinking about onboarding AI into their business, their teams, their lives?
I think the first thing is to get started. So a lot of people don't like they talk about the potential of AI. Like a lot of founders or business owners that I've spoken to, they say, yeah, it's great. I've seen so many things. And are you guys using it? Then we're like, we are thinking about it. So it's true, right? And I think people are very resistant to it because it takes, okay, honestly, it takes time, right? You have to put in the time and effort. Like any new skill, it's a skill set, it's a craft. The first thing I would recommend teams to do is to get started and to not like to make time and space for your team to explore. So a lot of the quotes I've heard right from agency owners or marketing companies is that their team doesn't have the time to explore AI and they're rushing for deadlines, which is what I myself have experienced in previous agencies. I think the reason why I had so much time to explore and to grow in the way I've done is because I'm running my own show, right? But for many people who are in an organizational setting, they don't have that luxury of time. But if I were to think about it from a management level, I would actually intentionally make time for my team to explore and weave it into their processes, right? Make it kind of like monthly goal. And with that kind of progression and being able to edit your daily lives, then you will be able to see like the results in the long term. So the first thing is get started. Second thing is get started in like in a small everyday like kind of workflows. It doesn't have to be a big change, a massive change. It's just weaving into your processes, figuring out how to use the tools and the prompts to your advantage, and then taking a step back and thinking as an organization, where do I want to be and how do I get there faster and how do I get there smarter? So I think these are the 3 things that I would highly recommend.
That is all very, very insightful and very helpful. I have heard the same as well around AI exploration. It's a big buzzword, especially with like, C-suite and stuff like that. Like they want to integrate AI at some capacity, but a lot of the times they just don't know how. And actually supporting what you were just saying, there was an article that I read maybe like a month ago that said 58% of Americans had heard about ChatGPT, but only 14% had actually tried it. So imagine from that 14%, how many people actually know what's going on. It's really, yeah, it's like night and day difference, but that's what makes it so exciting. Also being like in the forefront of this whole shift. So Audrey, for anyone that wants to like connect with you and find you and learn more about what you do, what is the best place to find you?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn would be the perfect place because that's where I'm sharing a lot of my knowledge and tips and tricks. So you can find me on LinkedIn. If you search Audrey Chia, Chia, you'll see my name with a spaceship at the end. So you will see my name. It's optimized for LinkedIn. Happy to connect there.
Amazing. Thank you. And before we wrap up, are there any last thoughts or anything else that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Yes, I think one thing I would love to share is that I believe strongly and with utmost conviction that the future is hybrid. We do not have to be afraid of tools that are new to us. They can really help us to get lots of things done in smarter, faster, and better ways. All we have to learn is how to integrate the best of the tools and the best of us. And I think that would be the kind of magic formula that we are all looking for.
Amazing. I completely agree. Well, thank you, Audrey, so much for your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing with us all of your amazing insights and expertise and everything you've been learning about AI as you're going about your day-to-day and everything that you're up to. It was very insightful, and I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot about it, especially around copywriting, which, like I said from the beginning, this is one of the most important topics to discuss because not everyone understands the fact that there is expertise needed in the process. So
we are not just copying things, everybody. we are actually creating things, okay?
So thank you so much for your time and for all of your insights.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And I will speak to you guys really, really soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks for joining
Bye-bye.
us on the AI Marketing Show.